Hello, everyone. My name is Thomas Dexmier, and I'm the AVP of Business Development and Enterprise Solutions in EMEA for HTC VIVE. It's an absolute pleasure to have the opportunity to share some of our insights with you today at Fire Live. Today, we're here to talk about how immersive technologies can help to unlock safer and more effective training in hazardous fire and emergency scenarios, while also reducing costs and carbon emissions. I'm very excited to share some of the examples of work we're doing together with our partner FLAIM Systems to show you how this technology is creating smarter, more engaging and more impactful training experiences for firefighter and emergency rescue professionals. Let's start by looking at the current immersive technology landscape and its application in the world of training. Extended reality, known as XR, encompasses virtual reality, VR, mixed reality, MR, and augmented reality, AR. These technologies they're in a hugely exciting phase of innovation across hardware and software. Essentially, you can recreate real-world scenarios in a 3D virtual space with realistic physics. That's especially true in enterprise environments, where it's making a big impact in every industry. One of the biggest use cases we see today is across training, both for hard skills and soft skills. And that's often the first question we hear. What difference can XR actually make in learning environments? The industry is still relatively young, but we already have some incredible real-world examples of the tangible and meaningful ways that XR is helping organizations, particularly in the world of fire emergency training. I want to be clear, XR is not designed to totally replace real-world training. It's there to complement and enhance the learning outcomes, and firefighting is a great example because while there's nothing like real-world experience, we know how dangerous it is for people to face a new scenario for the first time in the field. And we can all appreciate that being able to practice over and over again without any restrictions does improve preparation. XR training usually involves a headset that trainee will wear, a pair of controllers to interact with their environment, and for the most sophisticated setup, custom solutions will include real tools and specific gear, as you see on the screen. One of the most powerful benefits of virtual reality is the ability to break out from the limitations of the physical world and engage in more experiential and interactive environments to improve your learning outcomes. Insights developed by the National Training Laboratories show learning through simulation with technologies like VR can improve retention rates by up to 75%. This is much higher than the retention for people that learn through reading, which is only 10%, and from lecture-style learning, which is only 5%. If you're teaching specialist hard skills for dealing with hazardous environments, like teaching firefighters to operate equipment, you're training in application, not just in theory, what we refer to as kinesthetic learning or learning by doing. And as we know, every single fire is a dangerous situation, even in a controlled scenario. There's always an element of risk. And you need to have all of the trainees in the same place, at an exact physical location, where they'll only get a few goes at tackling a fire. The beauty of XR-based training is manifest. By using virtual training, trainees can practice as many times as they want, and from any location. They don't need to travel to where the control burn is. They can practice in any space, and that means they're better prepared for the physical training day. Now, you might wonder, what is it they're seeing in the virtual reality training? Well, that's really down to you. You can have realistic physics for fire, water, foam, and materials like vehicles and buildings. You can create endless scenarios which have 3D visuals and real-world physics. You can actually collaborate with colleagues remotely as well. Trainers can either watch a live feed remotely or just watch back footage after and provide feedback. Trainees can run through hundreds of scenarios in XR, which is obviously impossible to do in real-world training. It all feels very real when the trainees are in XR. They can wear the full kit, so they still have that feeling of what it is like to move around kitted up. And our partners at FLAIM have actually even combined heat suits and haptics into their firefighting XR training, which heats up as users get closer to the virtual fire and therefore takes the level of immersion to the next level. It is actually truly mind-blowing how quickly you forget the tech and the hardware and feel the pressure of completing the task when you are in one of the many scenarios developed by FLAIM Systems, as if you were on the field, just much safer. Now, I'd like to play you guys a video which brings to life some of the work that FLAIM is doing with our hardware. FLAIM Systems have developed a full solution with the HTC VIVE headset right at the center, enabling true-to-life experiences. Even the XR headsets, controllers, or external tracking devices can be designed to simulate equipment such as hoses, so trainees can practice handling them in an effective way and optimizing their body position for the most effective course of action. This primes them to be more effective in their roles while saving cost and time and improving the safety of your trainees. So now trainers don't have to worry as much. About limited and expensive real-world resources or access to expensive facilities. They can ensure that trainees can maximize their real-world training and blend theory with practice. XR is the closest trainees can get to a real-life scenario without the danger, the cost, and the environmental damage of a controlled fire. And what's not to like about the fact that trainees can be up to 4 times faster to train than in a normal classroom. Now, let's take a quick look at how the Newcastle International Airport is using these technologies as part of a cutting-edge training facility for firefighters at its training academy. The airport's training academy is located onto its site and offers a range of world-class fire and safety-related training courses. And in fact, Newcastle International Airport has become the first airport in the UK to invest in FLAIM Trainer. Using VIVE headsets and FLAIM training modules, the Academy combines high-fidelity virtual fire environments with real-time physical interfaces that simulate the heat and noise of emergency situations. With a diverse array of over 60 environments and thousands of hours training, this new virtual training place enhances real-world learning because it can be carried out anywhere at any time. Trainees can wear their full firefighting gear and build muscle memory while receiving real-time feedback from instructors, as well as statistical analysis of their performance. And importantly, this aligns perfectly with Newcastle International Airport's net zero carbon 2035 roadmap, as it dramatically reduces the need for environmentally taxing real fire scenario. As FLAIM training is fully virtual, 2,000 hours of annual training in one system saves the equivalent of 20 million litres of water and 27 tons of carbon emissions, a huge reduction. Combining VIVE hardware and FLAIM fire emergency training modules, the Academy can propel trainees into a world of realism and experiential learning while reducing cost and carbon emissions. This is a great example of how Immersive XR can help to both improve training outcomes and support the commitment to reducing carbon emissions whilst maintaining a very high standard of quality and safety for the trainees. What's next and what's coming in the next few years will be even more impressive. We know that headsets will be smaller, graphics will be even better, but it will become easier to track real-world objects in XR. And there will be real-time remote collaboration as well. So in the near future, we'll see more organizations take advantage of pass-through, as seen on devices like the VIVE XR Elite that you've got in front of you on this slide. That's basically mixed reality, where you can see virtual objects overlaid on a real environment around you. This can take training to new levels because you'll be able to see realistic looking virtual fires in whichever surrounding you're in, physically moving around an aircraft, for example. Also coming very soon is enhanced body tracking. Devices like our yet-to-be-announced new self-tracking tracker mean it's easier than ever before to attach it to a person and have their movement accurately tracked in a virtual space. So whether it's a trainee or a rescue target, or even attaching it to another equipment to ensure people have good handling and build muscle memory. In the medium term, there will be more adoption of private 5G network and cloud computing. We're already doing this with Amazon AWS and others. This means highly complex scenario can be rendered on a powerful PC which is remote and transmitted instantly over a fast network with very high bandwidth and low latency. Takes the heavy lifting of the individual headsets and means you can have even more detailed scenarios being streamed to your devices. Ultimately, the main drivers of XR adoption will center on ease of use and scale, both in terms of the end user experience and how smooth it is to deploy XR across an organization. And HTC VIVE is leading the way on all these topics. That's it for now. Thank you, everyone, for watching the session. I hope you enjoy the event and look forward to answering questions.
Hi, Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us here at this edition of Fire by Live. It's great to have you here and talking on a subject that is highly topical at the moment. The modern firefighter today has to be trained in so many different tactics and equipment compared to previously where they would specialise in just one, for example, structural firefighting. So it's great to see that new emerging technologies like XR are making this training more efficient and accessible internationally. So we've heard the theory in your presentation, but are there any practical examples of XR making a difference in life-saving situations?
Yeah, absolutely. The one that would come to mind is any situation that requires CPR. Patient resuscitation is a very meticulous process, and doing it in a virtual world with a real mannequin in a noisy environment with virtual bystanders is giving you real-life conditions that are far more stressful than the training office where you've learned the gestures at your own pace. So once you've done it a few times in a few different virtual environments, you're much more likely to be, in the zone and get things done well when the real situation does occur.
Definitely. And fire safety professionals also have a wide range of equipment and scenarios that they have to face in their day-to-day job. So how can trainers decide if XR training is for them?
Well, the beauty here is that pretty much every scenario you can think about can be rendered in XR. There's different ways of doing it. You can go from, low touch, stereoscopic 360 content, all the way through to CGI, 3D rendered and simulated environments. So it comes down to working with the right solution provider. And by solution, I mean the best possible association of hardware, enterprise platforms and content. And at HTC VIVE, we continuously invest in our R&D to deliver new ways of embarking your external tools and various props into your virtual environment to continuously enhance the quality of your immersive learning.
And you mentioned the different scenarios available. Are fire departments limited to a certain number of scenarios, or are they customizable, for example?
No, the sky is the limit. I think if you talk to the right solution providers, again, there's no reason why you should be constrained to a set number of scenarios. I've seen people develop a number of solutions for fire on a cruise ship, for the Navy on a helicopter, and again it comes down to being very specific in terms of what you need and what you require, and the professionals that create your content can deliver as many as you want. I think the FLAIM, as I said before, the FLAIM's catalog of content has up to 60 different scenarios.
Wow. Okay.
And counting.
Yeah. Always and counting. And what are some of the main considerations or steps that should be taken when bringing technology into the fire safety training?
Don't put the horse before the cart and do it progressively. I think change takes a lot of time, especially when it comes to digital adoption. Our recommendation is to start with a pilot program with a few kits and get as many people through it to gauge their reaction. And you'll be surprised to see how inclusive this technology has become. We see people from all age groups truly enjoy their XR learning. Then you can benchmark your VR learners on one side and your non-VR learners, raise your conclusion and get ready for deployment at scale. And at that point in time, that's where it's usually a bit of a make or break situation. You need to consider all available options out there to maximize your chances for success. The headset is only the tip of the iceberg, but don't forget to consider crucial IT items like onboarding of the hardware to your network, user data privacy, content deployment, and all the other important device management solutions. So, and obviously this is where here at HTC VIVE, we can definitely help you.
Definitely wise words there. And I think you're right. I think the fire industry is an industry that always has to rely on reliability, because we're not just dealing, with equipment, we're dealing with life and life safety at the forefront. And I think at the moment, when it comes to training, what we're looking at is a collaborative and a mixed approach, which, includes the traditional wood burning, but also the different types of immersive and virtual trainings that are definitely coming to the forefront, that allow firefighters to get a taste, so to speak, of all the different elements that they might encounter on a day-to-day. And lastly, just one final question as well. Are there any other future technologies or innovations that you think could enhance fire training?
Yeah, there's plenty, but probably the ones that make a lot of sense for us to talk about right now is, the tracking modules. And as we discussed previously, these new ways of tracking things will make everything even more realistic. Eye tracking, for example, will not only increase the realism of the scene that you're in, but will also give you invaluable insights and to the trainers, who will be able to assess a firefighter's ability to spot hazards, for example, and clear a room within a given time frame. For example, we're talking, as you said before, life or death type situation. Multi-user scenario will also change the game, where a group of firefighters can work together around and inside a building, for example, to put off a fire. With the right position and really clear communication between the people. And last but not least, cloud and streaming, we think, will play a major role in powering these experiences, allowing not only to fast track their adoption, but also drive success with the firefighters' audience.
I think definitely the bringing multiple people into the same virtual reality is something that would be incredibly interesting. I mean, because your training goes from an individual's training. Obviously, you can have multiple people that are doing the same scenario, but together to work as a collaborative tactics. When firefighting, it needs that. It's teamwork. Everyone has a different role to play. And I think also the other really important thing when it comes to firefighting is the ability to control the environment and to understand, like you said, pick out the small things and understand in a split second what needs to be done. And I think it's going to be a very exciting future. And I think this is with all industries when it comes to digitalization. So we'll see how it goes.
All these, all the stuff you just mentioned can be measured in an immersive environment. The speed at which you see things, the quality of your communication, your speech pattern when you communicate with your colleague, all that stuff can be done over and over again until people are fit for the job. And that's what we like about promoting our solutions and working with partners like FLAIM Systems and others, because they truly change the way people approach training and simulation, and rightly so in the firefighter environment.
No, definitely. Well, thank you, Thomas. I really appreciate your time talking to us today. If anybody has any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and connect with Thomas on the platform and find out more. So thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.